I'm back. Come on in. Come on in. I lost connection. Come on in. Come on in. Hopefully, you all can hear me again. I am en route home. Hi, Anna. Can you hear me? Welcome. Can you hear me? I lost connection. I was live. I started a new live. Can you hear me, darling? Hey, Miss V. How you doing? Can you hear me? I lost connection. I've started a new live. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Thank you, Anna. Yes. Thank you so much, Miss V. I hope you ladies are having an awesome day. Thank you so much. If you all can double tap the screen, hit the like button for me, please. Please. I'm coming live today in this Car Chronicles because I wanted to share information pertaining to these changes with student loans. Ms. V, I know you're, a college student. Uh, so with these student loans effective March 5th, 2025, if you are in default on your student loans, you are at jeopardy of having your wages garnished and your credit report being negatively impacted. Double tap the screen, please. Hit the like button, please. Come on in. We talking today. I'm giving you all this information. Okay. We gonna talk about it, Ms. V. Come on in here. Double tap the screen. Hit the like button for me, please. I want to check in, make sure everyone's good. Come on in. Double tap the screen. Hit the like button, please. We're talking. We're talking about student loans. March 5th, 2025. The Trump administration is going to aggressively begin collecting on defaulted student loans. Those are the student loans that haven't been paid on, where they're outstanding, where there isn't any type of payment plan on record being in place that you're adhering to. If you do have a student loan, I would recommend that you start having conversations with the lender, the loan holder, the person, the company who your loans are through, to try to get set up on some type of repayment plan. Because the last thing you want is to just not pay it, and then when you want to go out and do something, such as buying a home or a vehicle, financing anything that's going to require for your credit to be ran, you don't want to be hindered from moving forward because of your credit, and it being centered around you not paying your student loans. And that's the situation for millions of people right now. There are 5.3 million federal loans that are in default. So that speaks volumes to the state of our economy. With a number that large, it's not rooted in people not just wanting to pay their bills, it's because they can't. It's because they are not able to pay their bills. They don't have enough money. They don't have the resources. They just don't have it. And the average person does not have the means to pay out of pocket for college, for themselves, for their children. They just don't have it. And the unfortunate part is that with everything that's going on, with just life, with people losing their jobs, people working jobs and hours are cut, the hours are being cut, or, they're at work and they're being asked to go home early. I'm noticing, like, hearing conversations with truckers who are saying there is no work for them to haul. So that also explains why the grocery stores are starting to look the way they are. The shelves looking more bare. How many of you all have taken notice of the shelves in your local grocery stores? I know over the weekend when I was in the grocery store, in particular the potato chip aisle, I seen large gaps of unstocked shelves. There were large gaps of unstocked shelves in my local grocery store. How are the shelves in your grocery stores looking where you're at? Let me know in the chat what country you're in, what city and state. What does your grocery stores look like? Are they stocked? Because a lot of truckers here in the US are saying that they're having a hard time moving loads. It's not enough work for them. There's nothing for them to move. So for them, that is an indication of the economy and how bad things are, because it's like, okay, if I don't have anything to move, I don't have work. Also, if I don't have anything to move, then there's no merchandise, food, and things on the shelves, right? The signs are there. You just have to take heed to them and pay attention. The signs are there. The signs are here that things are really bad right now. And it's not about fear mongering, it's about the reality of the situation and preparing the best way you can. Given that the current President Trump, his administration is one to aggressively go after student loans, to me, that's letting me know that they are trying to find money. They're trying to collect money from somewhere. So they're collecting on debt. You know how people do, like, oh, I need some money. You start calling and looking around trying to think about who owe you, who you can hit up, who owe you a solid, who you've loaned money to before. These are the times that we are in. These are the times that we are in, and no one's exempt from these changes that are being made. It's just that some are going to feel it more than others. And even if you are a business owner, you're going to feel it when it comes to just your sales, your revenue, your bottom line, because people don't have the extra money like they once did to just buy things. They don't have it. I know people who work for Amazon and they're like, the orders, the shipments, and things like that, it's not coming in the same. And then they'll have like certain small pockets of times where it may come in heavy because people are trying to hurry up and place orders before maybe a new tariff is going to go into effect. So people moving in fear. This is where we're at. How are you preparing? Are you feeling the impact of any of these political changes today? Speaking of change, another change that is about to go into effect, and I didn't talk about it this morning because I actually didn't know at that time, but for the driver's license, I think it's called an official. How many of you have an official driver's license? An official driver's license is going to have a gold or a black star at the top on the right hand corner. If you are in the USA, Make sure that your driver's license have a star on it. I think they call it an official ID or official driver's license, an official ID, because after, I think the deadline is maybe May 9th. After May 9th, any other ID, it's not going to be accepted. So you're not going to be able to like fly. Like if you want to you want to get on a flight and get flued out May 7th. Thank you, Anthony. I knew it's coming up. If you do not have that official ID, is it called the official ID? It has the star. Because a lot of people right now are rushing. There's long lines at the DMV where people are trying to get that ID. And here's the thing. Anthony said you can use a passport. Most people, I don't think most people got a passport. You got to pay for that. The real ID. Thank you, Gorilla. The real ID. Because I'm like, the real ID? What's a real ID? What I got? Yes. Do you have the real ID? The real ID is going to have the star on it. Mine has a gold star. But apparently online it says there's some that's going to have a black star. So it may depend on where you're located. Some states may have the black star. So it's going to be in the right-hand corner at the top. A gold star or a black star. Child, you need a star. If you ain't got no star on your ID, you need to be getting to the DMV ASAP. And another thing is when you're going there to get this real ID, you're not leaving with it in hand. You'll probably get a little paper copy, but you have to wait for the real ID to come in the mail. DJ Vex says the idea is to control you. Whatever the reasons that it is, because that was a question I had when someone was like, yes, the real ID. I'm like, well, what's the point of it? Like, why do we need that? Why do we have that? What's the root? What's the underline behind why we need to have the real ID? Why? What's special about it? What's embedded into it? Because remember, a couple of weeks ago, I told you all that there's going to be some changes in the airport coming down the line. They say, when they say 3 to 5 years, but we talked about that it's likely it's going to happen before then, where instead of you're going to, when you go to the airport and check in, you won't need an actual ticket. It will be face recognition. It will be face recognition. That is the way of the future in the USA. When you go through the American airports, you won't have a ticket that you show. You will, prior to coming to the airport, you will have uploaded all your personal, your documents, whatever, into, I guess, the app. Then, therefore, when you show up to the airport, through face recognition, they will be able to learn what it is that they need to learn about you. So it's supposed to make the process for going through the airport faster. You know, right now they say show up, 2 hours early? Well, with this change, you're not going to need to show up 2 hours early because you're not going to be going through the check through like that. Your bags, you'll go in the line, you'll check your bags, but as far as you, they're just doing the facial recognition, and after that, you just going to the gate. Now, I don't know how you feel about that, but that's the way that it's going. They're saying 3 to 5 years before this will take effect. But many believe that it's going to be sooner than that. Many believe it's going to be sooner than that. So if they say 3 to 5, probably within the next 2 years. Within the next 2 years. So don't be surprised if one day you go through the airport in the USA and your screening takes place by them looking at you. Yeah. So that's the way of the future. Some of you maybe seen some things like this, like in the movies, where they look through you, you'll see them do the scan of the eyes. Like this is where we're going, y'all. This is the future. This AI thing ain't no joke. So I wouldn't be surprised, the Face ID, like Mark said, the Face ID, I would not be surprised if maybe this whole change with the driver's license is associated with that. If there's something special with the driver's license that's embedded in it that's going to aid in that process. I talked about it on this channel a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it's in the title, but I kind of gave the actual exact like details pertaining to it. I don't remember every exact thing I said about it, but basically the gist of it is that you're not going to need to be pulling out and showing these documents like your passport, your driver's license. You're not going to do that because beforehand you will have uploaded everything into a system. I guess it's like a cloud. And then they claim that, okay, after they get what they need, they'll remove it. So some people have been concerned about, y'all know how just every week we're constantly hearing about hacking, people getting your information. So it's going to be more personal information that you're going to have to upload, like your birth certificate. Like you're going to be uploading more personal information online, because if you're going to want to fly in the USA, you're going to have to follow the protocol. Otherwise, you're going to be on Greyhound, you're going to be driving your car, your bike, your skateboard. But what you won't be doing is getting on no Frontier flight, no Spirit flight, or no Delta flight. So research that, the change to, the flight screening in the U.S. airports, because it is coming. So within the next 5 years, that will be here. So it is very likely, as I'm thinking out loud and talking to you all, that these changes with the driver's license could have to do with these future changes, where how we will have to be screened when we're going into certain environments. Real ID. So thank you. So what I feel is that we're moving into a future of really not having tangible things to share. Everything is just going to be electronic. And through our bodies, information that people will need about us, they'll be able to get it just simply by looking at us, scanning something maybe across our face. This is what is giving to me as far as what the direction of our future is going. How many of you all regularly, like when you like go and purchase things, you use your phone to pay for something? You don't even have to pull out your wallet to pay for something, because they can scan scan the app. So if you have an app and they scan that, vendor scan the code, the barcode, whatever in the app, your banking information is already linked to it. So it's already, the charge is already ran. You didn't have to go and search for your wallet, look for some cash. It's already in your account. It's, the information is saved into your account already. That's a thing right now, whether you use it or not. At least in the USA, it's a whole thing right now. How often do many of you use cash? Most people, a lot of people don't carry cash on them. People use plastic, or they're using their phone. Everything is just electronic and digital. So I can easily see the direction of the future moving away from using paper things like pulling out a driver's license. I think one day that's going to be so old school to actually physically pull out a driver's license. I think that someone, like say if a law enforcement person, they need to see your ID or determine your identity, I think the future is going to be they'll be able to look at you and scan something across you that will be able to determine who you are and tell them everything they need to know down to your soul. I truly believe this is the direction of the future. The signs are there. Like, why? What is a real ID? Think about it. Just with the naming convention of the driver's license that has the star on it. You all on here, 60 of you in here. Double tap the screen, hit the like button. Pull out your ID. If you are an American citizen, you live in the United States, and you have a driver's license, your driver's license better have a star at the top right hand corner. If it does not, you need to get to your nearest DMV to get your driver's license updated, because the deadline to have that done is May 7th. After that, your driver's license, when you go to fly, it will not be accepted. It will not be accepted. No, you're not going to be able to pass go. It's not going to be accepted. You're going to be looking crazy. And they're going to be like, and you're going to be like, well, my driver's license isn't expired, but they're going to say you don't have the real ID. We cannot allow for you to get on this flight without the real ID. The driver's license that you have is no longer valid. It is no longer a valid federal form of ID. Get into it. Google it. I knew there was this thing with the driver's license, this new version of a driver's license. My mom been talking about it for a couple of years. And when we talked about it a couple of years ago, I'm like, wow. So I pulled out my driver's license then, and I saw, oh, well, I have the star. I had never even taken notice of the star on my driver's license. Actually, my driver's license is due to renew this year on my birthday, October. So in 2018, when I got my driver's license updated with my new mailing address, apparently that is when I got the real ID. I never took notice of the star until when she said something. So now today she's like, the deadline is approaching to have the real ID with the star on it. The deadline is May 7th. Someone in the chat put the date. They've already put the date in there. It's May 7th is the deadline to have the real ID. So what she was saying is, like, right now there are long lines at the DMV with people rushing to get the real ID because people waited to the last minute to get this real ID. Y'all know it's about to be hot out. Folks trying to be outside. We got Memorial Day coming up, 4th of July. People trying to go somewhere. But you ain't going nowhere on no plane if you ain't got the real ID. I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that. So it will behoove you to make sure that you got what you need so you can, get to where you're trying to go. Because I surely would hate it for you for your trip to have to be interrupted because your driver's license does not have a star on it. Because really, y'all, that's the difference, really, is a star. But I feel like it's some other stuff behind the scenes that makes it different, which is why they call it the real ID, and why it's something, I think right now it's centered around the airport where you got to have that particular version if you want to travel. So from my understanding right now, after May 7th, if you still have your other ID, you can still do all other things, but you just can't fly with it. So think about it. What's the big deal with needing the real ID to go through the airport to get on a plane, but though you don't need the real ID for anything else like driving? Like, what's going on here? There's something to that. And I told y'all we're on path where the plan is for us to have face recognition, go through for there to be face recognition in the airports, in the U.S. airports. That is the plan for the very, very near future. So get ready. And what I heard on the news, like where they were saying some places already use it, like Dubai. There was a news reporter who said when she recently went through the airport in Dubai, all they did was do the face recognition, and they sent her on about her way. She said it was real quick. She didn't have to go through all this, with showing all these different documents, getting in these lines. It was just do the facial thing, and then you just keep it moving. So some people may appreciate that. Some people may be like, listen, I'm okay with providing my information uh, in advance. I mean, I don't know, how much difference is it from, if you have pre-check. I have a TSA pre-check. So with that, you go to a location to provide all of your government documents. So they're pre-checking it. So therefore, when you do go to the airport in the future, they're like, oh, you've already been pre-checked. All the things that they would need to look at, it's already been looked at. So this is where we're at. And speaking of the future, I also learned about in New York, in the very near future, they're going to be introducing flying taxis. How many of you all seen that? Flying taxis. So it'll look kind of similar, like a plane, but I think it's electric. I don't know what's used to keep it going to have it fly, but the whole point of it is for you to be able to bypass traffic. So you may spend an hour in traffic, but get on this electric, the flying taxi, and get to your destination in like 10 or 15 minutes. Now they say it'll be more expensive than like a car ride, but you're safe. They didn't give any idea of what a price would be like, but they was like, it's cheaper than like a car ride. I guess they compared it like a taxi, a Lyft, or Uber. But imagine getting to your destination in a matter of minutes versus hours. Would you be up for that? I live in Georgia. I do my car chronicles as I drive through traffic. So the question is, would I be up for taking a flying taxi to get to and from my destination just so I don't have to endure Atlanta traffic? So with these flying taxis, the plan is for the flying taxis to not have someone flying it. So I got to throw that part in there. In the very beginning, there may be someone flying it, but ultimately, it's there's not going to be someone flying. So would you get into a flying taxi where there is no pilot, no one's driving it? How many of you have been in an electric vehicle that drove itself? I've never ridden in one, but when I went to Vegas a year ago, last year, I think it was last year when I went, I saw one. It was at a hotel. Like I think it was picking up someone. And yeah, it's just a car with like nobody in the front seat to drive it. I don't think I'm ready yet for that. I don't think I'm ready for that. Y'all let me know. You ready for something to be transporting you that's not operated by a human being, such as a plane, a car? Like, are you here for that? Alexander said I drove in a Tesla. Yeah. Yes, I've ridden in a Tesla, a coworker's Tesla before, but yeah, but somebody was driving it. They were driving it. So I'm not ready for, technology to be just moving me like that. I'm just not ready. But because it's the way of the future, I'm sure that eventually these crazy things that I'm talking to you all about, I'm going to get to a point to where I'm going to be on board with it because it's going to be the way of the future. It's like me saying today, I don't want to have nothing to do with the internet. I'm not going to use the internet. Everything involves the internet. So I feel like in the future, when it comes to like electric vehicles, AI, it's going to be a part of everything that we do, to where you're just going to acquiesce to that. It's just going to become a thing. And as time goes by and new generations and people are born, this is all they'll know. Just like my kids, all they know is the internet. They have no memory of there not being an internet, them not having electronics in their hand. So I think that for the future generation, they're not going to have a memory of there not being electric vehicles. There not being vehicles that can drive you without a person controlling it behind a wheel. Like, it's going to be so normal for them. So I think about these things as right now I sit in like, oh my God, that's crazy. No robots in my house. No this. But really, I also think like really chic, like if this becomes the way 20 years from now, are you really not going to have a robot in your house that's going to help with certain chores and things around the house when you're up in age, your children are grown, you may have grandkids? Like, I think about these things because I think right now in present time it's so easy for us to say, oh no, I ain't gonna be having me no blow up doll, no blow up man, no blow up girlfriend. Y'all, we about to be seeing damn people marrying blow up dolls. I just think that in the future it's gonna be so crazy, so different than what we see now. What we see now is just, I'm going to be able to have flashbacks on when I laughed at the idea of certain things happening. Just like as a kid when watching the Jetsons and seeing them utilize like technology to just make things efficient. Remember they were using robots and things like that. That wasn't a thing. Like, we didn't have robots in the house, in our homes, like we do today. Devices that talk back to us. We did not have that back in the 80s and the 90s. So I remember as a kid watching the Jetsons and just fantasizing about a life with those things. Like, oh my God, flying cars. Like, it was just crazy, where Mr. Jetson and get on the, that plane or whatever, and then, he fly to work and it lands on top of the building. Mark Travis said I could live without it. Right. But here's the thing. Fast forward, there's going to be some of us who are going to say, no, I'm not going to do it. But the vast majority of people are going to do it because for a lot of people, it's going to just be all that they know. It's not going to sound or look so crazy because this is just what they've been exposed to. So a lot of it has to do with the times of when you were born. Just like today, you have a lot of older people who won't deal with like social media. Like my mom will not deal with social media like that. But with me, I think nothing of social media. I feel like it's just how you utilize it, right? Anything can be bad. It's how you use it. Do you use it responsibly? But a lot of old school people in like their 50s, late 50s, 60s, they're like, oh no, they just stay clear of it. They just no. So I'm sure 20 years down the line, it'll be the group of people that will still be anti whatever, but most people will fall in line with it because it's going to become the new norm. Just like with anything, right? It's new until it's not new. Mark, you say look at the Amish. Yeah, what's the Amish population? Can you tell me that? Out of curiosity, what's the population? How many Amish people in America? What percentage is that? So you bump that up against the rest of the people. So you're going to have your people, your group that's going to steer clear, but I'm just saying it's not going to be the vast majority. It's not going to be the vast majority. So it's just going to be the way of doing things. One can only hope that as these things change, the safety will be on point because the way these planes coming down today, and they say it's still, safer to get on a plane, than to drive a car. But look how often, we're hearing about, the planes and things coming down. Most people have robots. I'm not gonna say most people. A lot of people have some type of robot in their car. I mean, not in their car, in their home. Over the weekend, I was hearing about this thing about with cars, these vehicles. Some of these vehicles today that are able to listen in on your conversation. So you all ever notice, like, sometimes when you're talking to someone and you have your phone, and then whatever you're talking about, like, you'll end up seeing some type of ad or recommendation that come up centered around what your conversation was, and you be like, oh my god, was it listening? Like, I've heard people say that so much when it comes to the phone. So over the weekend, I was hearing that that is a thing that people, it's something that people is saying that's happening when it comes to your car, where while you're driving your car, because you all know everything is just everything technology, AI, like these cars, smart cars. Because I think I heard over the weekend what the Tesla, I guess the truck has like 9 cameras. So what's been said is that these cars, they're able to hear what you're talking about as well. So some of those times where you see things pop up on your phone and you're like, oh my God, I was just talking about that. It could be because of conversations that were heard while you were driving your car. Keep that in mind. So that was just something that I, learned about over the weekend, and I wasn't surprised because I'm like, it's smart vehicles that are out, and I've learned that when it comes to like the insurance industry, the plan is for automobiles is for all autos to have some type of tracking in them, to where there's a gauge of how you're driving, and the information is reported to a system where insurance companies have access to, and they're able to see how you're truly driving. If you speed, like, they're able to tell that without relying on you to be forthcoming with that information. So that's something I have been in conversations about with people in regards to, like, with the insurance, because auto insurance is so crazy with the pricing, especially in Florida. And it's a place that there's a lot of activity that takes place, a lot of car accidents, a lot of lawsuits. And so the future is, vehicles to be able, for the future is vehicles will report information automatically, electronically, to some place, wherever it's going to be. And then these insurance companies will be able to access that data and provide insurance rates on you and your driving based off of the information from the vehicles. As I say, 20 years, it's a long time, but at the same time, it's not a long time from now. Just think about what you were doing 20 years ago. You'd be like, wow, it don't even really seem like it was that long, but it was 20 years ago. Get ready. Mark Travis said, if you want to give up your freedom, go ahead. And that's what it's about. But yeah, I think that's what, Mark, that's the question. It's going to be centered around the freedom. I'm not for giving up freedom, all of that. But what I'm saying is that I can see the vast majority of the population getting in line with these shenanigans. Just like the vast majority got in line when it came to what was popping off in 2020. In order to go to the club, in order to go to the concert, in order to go to work, people will acquiesce for a free meal, a gift card, and a Chris Brown concert. Like, people, listen, people will give it all away for those things. It's unfortunate, but a lot of people, they're, they're easily led. They will, you say I gotta do what? And you say I get a 25 gift card to Papa John's? Bet. And people will line up. Crazy, yo. Listen. Mark said 2020 was planned to take out Trump, and I'm glad he is still here. Yes, I'm glad, he's here too. Like, I definitely feel like, as a country, like, we definitely are better off, with him as the leader. Um, the alternative being Kamala Harris, Biden now. But even with him, being in office, there are a lot of changes, and it's a struggle to navigate through these changes because these changes are impacting many people financially, and it's not going to be overnight for people to be able to adjust to these changes. A lot of changes are taking place overnight, but here's the thing: we didn't get here overnight, but a lot of the changes are taking place overnight. So it's a lot of people that are in distress right now with these changes that are taking place, centered around their jobs, centered around just different benefits and things like that. And a lot of pretty much the majority of these changes that we're learning about, they're impacting people's bottom lines. They're impacting people's households. And prior to Trump coming in the office, people already were really down bad. And you have a lot of people right now, they're down worse than what they were. You got some people who are, there was someone in my chat over the weekend when I talked about military and the military enlistment numbers being on the rise since Trump been in office. And there was a gentleman who said that he's he's a reserve right now, and he says that he makes more money now that Trump is in the office. It look like it's about $2,500 more each month because of Trump being in office. So there are some people financially who have benefited as a result of him coming into office. But there are thousands of people who have not and who've lost their income. So I am sensitive to that, and I do acknowledge that, and talk about the impacts to people's lives when suddenly their jobs are taken away and they haven't been able to replace that job because the job market isn't great, in particular for people who are professionals, college educated um, individuals, what some people may still call middle class. I personally don't really think there's really a middle class anymore. I think there's the haves and the have nots. I think there's rich and there's poor. You have the working poor. Um, because so many people talk about struggling other than the rich, the millionaires. All other people talk about just the financial struggles that they have. So I take notice of that, and I come out here on my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Chic. My channel Chic Speaks on it, and I just talk about just things that are going on in the economy, politics. I insert conversation. I insert mental health because my background is clinical mental health counseling. I have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, which means that I can be a therapist if I activate my license, but I choose to not do therapy. I don't want to be a therapist, like that. I just like to be on the internet as a content creator, and I like to help people in this way, or help people who paths I cross. But this is just how I show up for people and share information. But I like to remind people that mental health is important, and how you feel, your mental state, is what's most important. And if you're mentally not feeling well emotionally, it's time to move around and do something different. It's not worth it. Nothing's worth your peace of mind. Nothing is worth your peace of mind. You need to evaluate things if whatever you got going on is impacting your mental health and your physical health. You have to change it up, because I talked about before on this channel a woman who I recently learned who is no longer with us, but stress took her out because she was concerned about her livelihood when she learned that her job was potentially on the line as a federal worker. And that was it was just so disheartening to hear. But that's why I talk about the importance of mental health. And I feel like in today's times, we people take it more seriously than ever before, but there were times when people just didn't factor in mental health. It was just like, as long as physically you were good, like your limbs were intact, you could walk and talk, people weren't really collectively concerned about the headspace that someone was in. But that's not the case anymore. Mental health is heavily talked about. And with all the things that are going on in the world today, I can easily believe that there are a lot of people who are mentally not doing well. There are a lot of people who are not doing well. And just even learning of the news of just these student loans and the potential garnishment of your pay if you do not pay back your student loans, that's enough to have to just send someone over the edge. Because it's just like, oh my God, like that's the last thing I need to hear. I already just learned that my last day at work is on Friday. I got bills due. My kids too young to stay at home by themselves, so I got to figure out who's going to watch them while I look for a job, go to a job. Like the last, like to add this on, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I get it. I get that President Trump is trying to undo a lot of just craziness that has taken place in the past and just frivolous spending. But I don't think that coming after the people, 5.3 million people who are in default of their student loans, is the way to go in these times right now. There may be a time where it is, but I don't think right now it is that time. Because think about it. How do you transition from February, March, and in April, laying off a total of thousands of people, and then say, okay, effective Cinco de Mayo, you need to start back paying your student loans? What? Talk about reading the room. Like, really, y'all, to think about it. I didn't told you on Friday that it's your last day, and then I turn around and tell you on Monday, I need for you to start paying me back on a loan. And it's like, wait a minute, you know, you just told me that I ain't got no job no more, right? Yeah, I know I told you that. Well, where am I supposed to get this money from to pay back this student loan? Like, this is how people are feeling. This is the thought process. Where is it coming from? Because what's going to happen is that now that they're about to implement for people to start back, resume payments, because remember in 2020, payments stopped. They were put on a hold. Rightfully so, but they were put on a hold. So now, following the announcements of thousands of people losing their jobs, you say, hey, now those holds need to cease. They need to stop, and you need to start back paying. That makes no sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. It's illogical. That should happen after the economy has gotten back to a good place where conversations aren't centered around job losses and the newest company to get added to the list of layoffs. So some of you may wonder, if you're new to my channel, you find me in the algorithm, welcome. I voted for Trump. I say, to sum it up, I voted for him because he ran on common sense. But I will say that since he's been in the office, there's been things that he's done that I've been in support of, and there's been things that he's done that I haven't been in support of. But at the end of the day, I'm Team USA, and I'm going to always ride for my country and my leader. You're not going to hear me say, go Canada, go China. I'm not going to do that because this is home. My loyalty is to home. So that's what it is. But while I'm home, I will talk about the things at home that don't make me feel good. It's not all bad, but it's not all good either. But what is? So this is a space where we talk about it. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. This is that space. And as long as you talk your talk respectfully, I welcome you. My mods welcome you. I have amazing mods. Risa said, this fair and honest. I respect that. Thank you so much. But that's my stance. Because just because I may support someone as a whole, it doesn't mean that I support every move that they make. That's actually not even normal. Just think about your loved ones. Do your children disappoint you? Do your partners disappoint you? Do people you rock with disappoint you? But just because they disappointed you for whatever it is that they did, it don't mean that you completely turn your back on them and you throw them away. So that's how I feel when it comes to the Trump administration. I haven't thrown him away. I'm just talking my talk to say, hey, yo, like, wow, I'm here. I'm rocking with you with that. Yo, oh my God, that's a bit much. What are we doing? That don't make sense. That makes sense, but that don't make sense. But I'm keeping the faith. We heading towards better days. But that's where I'm at with it. That's just where I'm at with it. So Resist logical thinking. Yes, I'm just a very logical person. So I want anyone to know 2626. I like to see the even numbers. 26 likes, 26 people in the building. Thank you. Thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. Feel free to become a member of my channel. This weekend, I launched my membership, $2.99. You'll have priority comments read. Your name will show up in color, and you will be an official political honor student. I welcome each and every one of you. Piper says, I believe in mental health, and I think the economy and health are interlinked. Definitely. I like that, Piper. I believe that too. It goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. So what I'm saying is that you can't quarter one say, I'm snatching jobs, and quarter two says, I need you to start paying this bill. Quarter one, I'm taking your job. Quarter two, I need for you to start paying this bill. With what? With what? So what's going to happen, it's going to be more people that's going to be added to the default number. Because remember, we're at 5.3 million right now. That number is going to grow because now that people are going to be required to start paying their student loans back, many of them are not going to be able to do it. So now they are going to wind up in a situation. So the number grows. So then it's like, are we really doing anything? Do it looks good on paper to say we're going to do this if somebody don't pay this? But at the end of the day, is it really making a difference to the bottom line and getting the debt taken care of? I'm going to say no, because people don't have it. You're going to have a small percentage of people who will be able to pay, but I do not even think half the people that have this 5.3 million federal child, they probably be good if they get a million. They will probably be good if they get a million people paying on that. They will be good getting it because, as I say, you got to read the room. It's illogical to say you don't have a job in Q1 and then in Q2 to say, hey, I'm going to need for you to start paying this bill. It doesn't make sense. And I feel like it's just going to put people in a situation. And I feel like all of this is leading us to that whole, what is that, the UBI, the Universal Basic Income. I truly feel like we're going as a nation in a direction to where everybody going to be on some type of on government assistance, meaning that people are going to be down so bad to where the government is just going to give out checks, because they're going to be like, well, yo, all right, we understand things are bad, y'all ain't got jobs, but that's all right, we got you, here's a check. But y'all know anytime a check coming, there's other stuff that's following behind it. There, nothing is for free. As somebody talked about your freedom, giving up your freedom. If a check is going to come, best believe there is something coming with that. There's some type of control that's coming with that. Virtue said control. How many of you would rather go out and get to it on your own than to have somebody give it to you and then they dictate and tell you what to do it, what to do, how to do it, when to do it? How many of you be like, F that, I'd rather work 2 jobs than to be getting controlled by you? Freedom ain't free. I like that 470. Freedom ain't free. But I feel like that's the direction we're going. So it's like, it's almost like it's systematic to try to have the collective of our country in a financial situation in a whole. So therefore, something can be implemented that has for the government to be taking care of you, like Cuba. How many of you all, any of you familiar with Cuba, the country Cuba? I visited Cuba in 2019. I'm gonna tell you, that ain't what you want. Listen, the government like, we got you, but when you see what we got you look like and what it means, you like, yeah, I'll go to work. Yeah, I'll go to work. But this is what it seems like. It just feels like this is the direction that we're going. We're going in a direction to where you'll own nothing but be happy. How many of you don't own a home now? You desire to own a home, but based off of the way things are looking and the prices, you can't even see how that's even going to happen. Risa said communism. You like, yo, I've been like, it's been on my heart to have a house, to buy a house, but I don't see how I can make it happen with the prices of the houses. How many of you are wondering, like, who can afford this? Who can afford these houses? Who's out here buying houses? Who out here still talking about I'm a real estate agent? I got a text message over the weekend from an old friend, my whole old hairstylist, and she had gotten into, real estate. And very briefly, we worked for the same real estate office, because I used to, be a realtor in Atlanta years ago. And then once the pandemic happened, I just kind of stopped. But my first thought was, who's still out here moving as a realtor? Can you all hear me? My number's dropping. Can you all hear me? Did my sound go out? Can y'all hear me? Okay, thank you so much. So I got a text over the weekend from a friend, and she was, offering her real estate services. And I'm like, who running around here being a real estate agent? How, Sway? Who buying houses right now? Who can afford it? That was legit to think that was a thought I had, because there was a point where I was always getting text messages from like other real estate agents, because I used to be in the industry. So people, they still have my contact number and they would text me. But now that I'm thinking about it and I'm on this live, I'm like, wow, I haven't gotten those text messages like that in a long time. But over the weekend, I got one, and I'm like, folks still running around talking about I'm selling houses, I'm a real estate agent. Listen, as I say, it's hard out here for a pimp. It's hard. It is so hard. It is so hard. It's so hard. And the last thing that people want to do is wake up each day and see some some new regulation that's centered around them having to come off more money. People are waiting to hear news about more money going into their bank accounts. We haven't heard that type of news in a really long time. We are well overdue for it. The weather is bad. I'm not that far from my house. Let me know. Can you all still hear me? I may have to end the live. Can you hear me? I'll end the live. Okay, you can hear me? Okay, thank you, Lionel, because it's raining where I'm at. The weather's so wishy-washy. It was like beautiful 80, degrees yesterday, 2 days ago. Now it's raining. But thank you all. Okay, because I was going to end this live, child. It's been a rough day. Like, I did 2 in the morning because they stopped. I'm on my second one in the afternoon. Bro, I'm going to bed. What time is it, Bro Lena, where you're at? I know you're in another country. What country are you in? What time is it? 11:51. Well, you have a good night where you're at, and we'll chat. I'm sure you'll be on my next live. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but we're gonna make it. I have faith. We're gonna make it as a collective. Talk to you later, Bro Lena. I have faith. We will make it as a collective. We have to really. We have to really. So I come out here and I just talk about these things that need to be talked about because they're not talked about like this, the way I talk about it. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to talk about things in a way that the other outlets are not going to talk about them. That's the freedom that I have over here, which is why I have no desire to go into politics because I like the freedom to be able to talk about the things that I choose to talk about versus talk about the things that are driven by the network. And a lot of the things, um, the talking points on, that you hear on the internet, on the mainstream media, is pushed by the network. Are you all still able to hear me? I see the numbers changing. Can you hear me still? It might be going in and out. Okay. I'm very close to my destination. I'll be home probably in about the next 7 minutes, 5 minutes. But yeah, it's hard. It's rough. And there's a lot of out of touch people. There are a lot of out of touch people out here who do not want to, they don't want to acknowledge that the regular working class people can't just come off of an extra few $100s or thousands of dollars to pay new bills, especially after learning that their job got cut. Especially learning after their job got cut. And unfortunately, a lot of people have learned that their job got cut. And a lot more will learn as well. Everything has it's cause and effect. It's like a domino effect. In the fall, we've heard about, with the Department of Education and with funding, it has resulted in teachers not contracts for the following school year not being renewed. So guess what? It's going to have an impact on your child's experience in public schools. It is what it is. Some people want to argue and say, well, no, the changes with the Department of Education, it doesn't impact the teachers. That's not true. And people need to stop saying that. It does. I've heard far too many teachers online talk about how their jobs, how they've lost their jobs as a result of the cuts with the Department of Education. There are a number of teachers whose salaries were being paid from the funding that the Biden administration was giving them during the pandemic. Now that that funding has been cut, the money is no longer there for these schools within these states and these counties to pay these teachers. So guess what? These teachers have to go. The money isn't there to pay their salaries. You see how it works? So what's going to happen is that the classroom sizes will become larger. You'll have more schools with a high number of substitute teachers in the classrooms than teachers. More teachers, more subs. I hear that's a thing. Even I've heard someone say where I live currently, the county I live, there's more subs in the classroom than actual teachers. A substitute teacher, that's just someone on call to come in and basically sit with the kids because they're not teaching. Their job is to just sit with the kids. Any of you ever been in school, if you ever had a sub, the sub is just physically there. They're just a body, an adult in the classroom. Because that sub will have no problem telling you, I don't know how to do that. Listen, sit that to the side, and when teacher come back tomorrow, whenever she's supposed to come back, she'll go over that with you because I don't know. They listen, they had no problem telling you, I don't know. Some of y'all may have subbed. Them kids come, Miss Smith, can you help me with this math problem? I cannot. I cannot. No, I can't. That's why I'm only a sub, because I can't. They didn't tell me I need to do all that. They said I just need to sit in this classroom to make sure y'all act like y'all got some sense. Now, they didn't tell me I need to be doggone answering no questions. So don't ask me nothing. Don't ask me nothing. If it ain't you raising your hand because you need to go to the bathroom, go get you a drink of water. If it ain't nothing around them two things. Miss Smith, can I go to the bathroom? And Miss Smith, can I go get some water? If your question ain't one of them two, don't ask me nothing. Because they ain't paying me enough to answer any questions. Y'all know. Listen, y'all know it be like that. Them teachers be like, leave me alone. They be on the phone probably. They all on they new iPhone, trying to move around the building to get some connection in these buildings because you know it'd be hard for the phones to work in the buildings. Yes, so listen, we gonna mess around and have these classrooms full of substitute teachers. Kids out of college subbing until they get their next gig. Because you know, in order you only need like 60 college credit hours to be a substitute teacher. So that's like equivalent of associate's degree. You don't need all that higher education to be a sub. It's Miss Smith, you can't help me with that. Girl, I done told you I only got 60 credit hours, and we done covered that part in them 60 credit hours. So don't ask me again, because you're going to make me send you to the office. You're going to make me send you to the office. So don't be asking me no question about that work. Read a book. Y'all don't cheat off each other no more? It's going to be real different in these classrooms, watch, come the fall. And I'm going to be talking about it. I am going to be talking about it because they finna be trying to do what they, you know how companies do. These schools gonna do the same thing, more with less. These teachers gonna be overworked and underpaid. Overworked and underpaid. It's gonna be a sad day. It's going to be a sad day, but that's the direction. But remember, that same overworked and underpaid teacher got student loans. That teacher has student loans. That teacher that got told, it was a couple of teachers that I heard testimonies where they said hopefully you all will still be able to hear me. There were a couple of teachers who I heard testimonies that said they were like teachers of the years, and they were told that their contracts weren't going to be removed. Like, they're like, clearly I'm doing a good job, but they said that they can't renew my contracts. Dr. J says they already overworked and underpaid. I guess it would be more severe, sadly. Yep. It's going to be more. Virtuous says by 2030, the kids will be schooling in the Metroverse. Watch. Yeah, that's not that far from now. So, wow, that's just 5 years from now. 2030. That sounds crazy. Yeah. Because remember, I think, to what I feel that they're making a lot of things so hard and inconvenience on people to set us up for that day where they just be like, okay, you all tired of struggling? We have the answer. Going forward, we're going to do this. Like, it's almost like to bring you down to the bottom, to the lowest of the low. So therefore, they can swoop on in like they're the savior to say, hey, we got a plan. Like they're our savior, when it was all along a setup. You know what I'm saying? It was a setup to bring you to the bottom and then step in like as though they got the solution to look like the hero, right? To look like the hero. To me, that's the only thing that makes sense to what I'm seeing going on right now. It's like a play. It's a play. It's like the savior. Piper says that's what they want. 2008 crash was by design. There's so much that was by design. 2020. Everything. That's why I always say that these things we see in these shows on Netflix, in the movies, it's real. They're trying to prepare you for what's to come. It's programming. It's programming. It's getting you like accustomed to things to where when it happened in real life, it won't seem as crazy because you've seen it before. Remember I talked about like with the scanning of the eyes, and how long we've been seeing stuff like that in the movies for how long now? The Matrix. How old is the Matrix? Like, we've been really, when you think about it, a lot of these things centered around technology and AI, we've been seeing it play out for many years. How old are the what was that with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Is that RoboCop? How, like, really think about a lot of these things that are transpiring today, how long we've really been seeing them. Like, we've really been seeing a lot of this ish. And it's just like, well, yeah, I guess I did see that 20 years ago in that movie, but at the time you were just being Total Recall. Thank you, Riza. At the time you were just being iRobot. At the time you were just being what's the word? You were being entertained. At the time we was just being entertained. Even when we watch some of with the shows, like I always go back to Scandal with Kerry Washington. We're watching things. We're being entertained. But if we all really flash back to a lot of the things that we've watched over our lifetime, you can really see a lot of that ish playing out in real life. And you like, I'll be damned. That's why I say, when we talk about the direction of the future and we sit and say what we're not going to do, most of us will do that because it's going to become the new way of doing things. And the old way of doing things, some of those things, it's not going to even be an option anymore. So you're not going to have any other choice but to do it that way. Let's just say somebody today who only use cash, and they're like, listen, I'm old school. I don't deal with them credit cards, those debit cards. I'm cash only, whatever. You think 20 years from now, that's going to be a thing where there's even cash there for you to be hollering, I only use cash? The newer generation going to be like, what is that? You literally going to be sitting in one place, not being able to do a dang thing because you hollering, I only use cash, and that's non-existent. That's going to be the equivalent of, I don't have dogs as a pet. I only have dinosaurs. If it ain't no dinosaur, I don't want it. If it ain't as tall as my house, I don't want it. Like that's where we're at. Risa says that was me a while ago. Yes. So you can get stuck in your ways if you want to, but what's going to happen is that you'll get left behind. And then eventually you'll have to fall in line, right? Yeah, left behind, Dr. J. You'll eventually fall in line. People will be reluctant, but eventually you'll fall in line because guess what? You're going to be needing these things that you're bucking the system against. You're gonna be hungry. You're gonna be homeless. You ain't gonna have no way to get to and from if you hollering, I'm not getting in something that's going to that I can't drive. I'm not getting into something that a person isn't driving. Solomon said it's all programmed. Yes. Imagine, like, we can sit here right now in 2025 and say, I ain't getting in nothing that's a person ain't driving. Fast forward to 2040. A person don't drive anything. Everything is non-person driven. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So it's always easier to say in the present time what you're not going to do. But when you really think back to just the past and where you came from, and then today and what you find yourself doing, you see that eventually you got in line and started doing the things that pretty much everybody else is doing. Because it's just what you do. It's what you do. Riza said, I don't have social media. YouTube is enough for me. And, that's an example of you only having YouTube. There may come a time to where you will have more than YouTube. Because in order for you to gain information from whatever you need to gain it from, like these outlets, you're going to have to get it from someplace else that's going to be necessary, because that's the way you get said information. So now it ain't going to be YouTube, or maybe YouTube may not even be a thing and it's something else. I think a lot of us today, the things that we say we're not going to do, we're going to find ourselves doing them. That's basically what I'm saying. And it's just going to be rooted in, it's just the way of the times. Dr. Jason Rizzo, YouTube is all I have to. Karen, the good kind, says, I'll have to come up with some new conspiracy theories since all of my previous ones have become reality. Dr. J said, enlighten sheet. So, that's basically what I just mainly want to do, is just open your mind to the idea that you may very well one day find yourself doing things, living your life in a way that you just wouldn't have ever thought you would. Including myself. And I'm saying this because as I'm just seeing it's like the Twilight Zone, as I'm seeing, like, you all, this is like a reset. Everything is changing. And when you really think about it and look at it, things are changing pretty rapidly. Like, they're changing rapidly. So because things, I said I wouldn't do this, that, and the third, but I don't know. Times are hard. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna have to do that because I'm not seeing another option. So I'm gonna probably have to do that. It's just kind of where we are. And I would tell you all just something about me, my personality. I'm always like very forward thinking. So I spend more time thinking about the future versus kind of taking in like present. It's just always been who I am. Like my challenge is to live in the now. So that's something about me. I'm a forward thinking, planning type person. So it's more work for me to kind of stay present and be in the now. I've gotten better. So my husband's the opposite. He's in the now person and not forward thinking. And then I'm the opposite. So he has to his challenge is okay to be more forward thinking like me. And mine's is to be more in the now. The yin and the yang, opposites attract. So that's how we balance one another. So I'm always thinking ahead because it it's preparation. I don't know how to not think ahead and to try to prepare. And I feel like for the most part, with how my life has been, the quality of my life, my experiences, I've benefited greatly from being that way. Being someone who thought outside of the box, who just didn't live in the moment and just didn't think about what was taking place right now. Try it if you don't do that. Do that more. Think about your future more. I promise you, you don't go wrong. I personally find people go more wrong when they only want to focus on just right now versus planning for tomorrow. You don't really go wrong when you're planning for tomorrow, but you can get effed up if you're only living in the present and going off of just what you see before you. So that's what I've learned. Try it. If you feel like, hey, I just be living in the moment, it be getting real. Try to do more preparation and see how that goes. Risa say, yeah, Dr. J, I'm too private for it. I like to know me, not just everyone having access to my life. That can be dangerous. Yeah. It's just about balance. YouTube is the platform that I'm pretty much heavy on. Any others, I have social media accounts on various other platforms, but I don't have a strong presence there. They're just accounts that I have from back maybe when I was younger, when I was more active, or I just have them for other people who may know me and want to just share, locate me. Just, I'm from California, so I'm in Georgia right now where I live. So because I'm from like across the country, social media accounts, it's an easy way to stay connected with my family who are across, way, way far away. So, but I'm not active out there. And the older I get, the less active I am on those platforms. The more I have, the less I have interest in wanting to share things about myself or my family on those platforms. So, that's just the direction I'm moving. I'm noticing as I'm getting older. And it's funny, I guess I'm turning into one like, oh, I don't deal with those social media. Like, will I become one of those? I'm like, I only do YouTube. I only do YouTube. But yeah, right now I call YouTube is my playground. YouTube is my playground. It's just like where I like to be, where I'm comfortable at. Um, so my bigger falling. It seemed like whenever I've tried to grow in other platforms, it's like YouTube is just the one that has just taken to like my content better than other platforms. So I like YouTube. I just try to be mindful as far as with what I share on it. I'm the only one in my family who's a content creator. So it's just me. Riza says my 40th birthday surprise party was printed on social media and I didn't have a clue. My mom don't even like me. Like we go on outings and her pictures been placed on like social media platforms. Like she's in her 60s. She just don't want any parts of that social media. So I get it. And now, I don't get mad about being placed on social media. It's just that that's just not where I just hang out. I'm from no, I'm sorry, I'm from Northern California. I'm from a small town called Pittsburgh, California. Um, I currently live in Georgia. I've been a resident of Georgia since 1996. When I was a teenager, I relocated to Georgia with my family. Yeah. So, so I get it with the social media. We have to be careful. And even as I'm on YouTube, I just try to be more mindful. And especially as I get, I'm getting more people watching my content. I'm just trying to move more carefully. Um, so that's just what you have to do. You just have to be very conscious and cognizant of just what you say and what you do, like all of that. Yes, let's see. We just got to be careful out here. Just in time for the Olympics. Yep. Then I moved here that right after it left that summer. My mother was here during the summer during the Olympics looking for a home for us. She had a job transfer. So that's how I moved to Georgia as a teenager. So me and my siblings, we were left behind in California to, finish whatever, working, school, whatever. And then she came back. And I think I came probably in like September of 1996. So, but she was here to see the games. She was actually, experienced with the bombing and things like that that took place during the Olympics. And I think she was on the MARTA train here and felt the shake. She had just left Centennial. So, yes. Dr. Jason said, Chic, I plan to start with Avatar going live. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of faceless YouTube channels out there. Dr. J said, try to be careful when possible. Yes, there's a lot of faceless channels out there, so you don't have to, if any of you consider doing content creation, you don't have to show your face. Dr. J, you starting to pay. Dr. J, please plug your YouTube channel, the name. Dr. J, is it Dr. J 19 um, something? If you can put it in the comments, and you can, share what your channel is about. You all can, 1972. Definitely go follow Dr. J. Dr. J, listen, Dr. J said 50 subscribers. You can go live. She's nearing 50 subscribers. So definitely follow Dr. J over there. Go check out her content. Piper says, I'm trying to build mines. X got too many bots. Yes. I like YouTube. It's pretty easy. I go live all the time. I rarely do pre-records. I find lives to just be easier. I don't have to deal with editing. What's up, Simply Living? I don't have to deal with the editing and all of that. So that's something when you do pre-records. A lot of times you kind of might deal with the editing if you're wanting to have it all perfect. And you see how people content is out there. Me, I just listen, I just hit the button, go live, and I get to talking. So that works for me. So that's the thing. I would say what I've learned from YouTube, and those of you who are listening, what I've learned is that people will come to expect from you what you gave. Like, for example, if you come on social media and you come out here as a content creator and you come out here and they see you going live, like that's how they are introduced to you, they will want to see you do that all the time. Like it's almost like they can box you in because people will dictate the type of content they want to see from you. Keep that in mind. Any of you who are interested in content creation, it's a percentage of what you want to do, but it's heavily in what people are going to respond to. So you may like something and like, oh, I love to talk about cars, but people don't respond to that when you put out content about cars. So what I say is that you have to figure out how to merge what it is that's trending that people respond to what it is that you like. You have to find a way to merge the two. Because if you completely just focus on what you like, you are likely to not be successful. Can you all still hear me? Can you hear me?